goes around violently, sort of shoves this picture in everybody's face. And they say, look, this guy is a terrorist. And the fact of the matter is, this man is not a terrorist. Pakistan is proof. He happens to have a name similar to one of the sanctioned people, but he's not.
A country long accused and known to nurture and harbor terrorists and terrorism is now going to lead the fight against it on the global stage. That country is Pakistan, and that stage is the United Nations. Yes, the country that gave sanctuary to Osama bin Laden and recognized the Taliban regime of the 90s is now going to head the Taliban Sanctions Committee of the United Nations. This isn't just irony, it's international theatre. And the cost of admitting and electing Pakistan, justice, truth, and thousands of lives. Hello and welcome. You're watching Statecraft with me, Geeta Mohan. In 2025, Pakistan, often dubbed the global exporter of terror, will chair the UNSC's Taliban Sanctions Committee. Simultaneously, it will also serve as vice chair of the UN Counter-Terrorism Committee. And in the month of July, it is going to hold presidency of the United Nations Security Council itself. Let that sink in. The same Pakistan where Hafiz Saeed, Masood, Azhar, and other UN-sanctioned terrorists roam freely. The same Pakistan that served as the breeding ground for Lashkar-e-Taiba, Hizbul Mujahideen, and Jaish-e-Mohammed. This appointment isn't just tone deaf. It's like appointing a known arsonist to lead the global fire department. But this is not a one-off lapse. This is part of a pattern. A long, ugly pattern of institutional hypocrisy. And nowhere was this hypocrisy more visible than in a chilling address to the United Nations by the former Foreign Minister of Pakistan, Bilawal Bhutto.
They go around and they show a picture of a man with a beard leading funeral prayers. And this delegation goes around violently, sort of shoves this picture in everybody's face. And they say, look, this guy is a terrorist. And the fact of the matter is, this man is not a terrorist. Pakistan is proof. He happens to have a name similar to one of the sanctioned people, but he's not.
In the video you just saw, Bhutto passionately defended Hafiz Abdur Rauf, a US designated terrorist linked to Lashkar-e-Taiba. Despite photographic evidence showing Rauf leading funeral prayers for killed terrorists, and despite documentation from Pakistan's own military media wing ISPR that confirmed his identity matched US Treasury Department's terrorist designations, Bhutto maintained that Rauf was merely a local cleric who happened to share a name with a sanctioned terrorist. This level of gaslighting would be impressive if it weren't so transparently false. The evidence against Rauf is overwhelming. His computerized national identity card, shared by Pakistan's own ISPR, shows a date of birth and identification number that exactly match those on the US Treasury Department's Office of Foreign Assets Control list of designated global terrorists. The CNIC also confirms his affiliation with the Pakistan Markazi Muslim League, PMML, designated by the US as a front for Lashkar-e-Taiba. Yet, Pakistan's representatives continue to maintain the fiction that this is all a case of mistaken identity. Despite all of this, Bhutto claimed Rauf was merely a local cleric with a similar name.
As if it has any. Have you already forgotten that they denied they knew where Osama bin Laden was? And where was he found? In a safe house near an army camp in a cantonment city in the heart of Pakistan. This has been Pakistan's record. Why on earth would you blithely report their denials as if they were real?
In any other setting, this would be called gaslighting. At the UN, It's called diplomacy. The Pakistan paradox reveals something deeper, that in the global war on terror, convenience has defeated conviction, and unless the world changes course, this charade will continue. Terrorists will become clerics, clerics will become diplomats, and the victims will be forgotten. The fact that this chairmanship does not come on rotational basis and the fact that Pakistan has been chosen by the United Nations Security Council members, including the P5, is telling. This leadership change comes amid intensified diplomatic efforts, particularly from China, to engage with the Taliban administration, raising questions about Pakistan's role in managing these sanctions. The 1988 Sanctions Committee oversees measures such as travel bans, asset freezes, and arms embargoes on Taliban members. At a time when the Taliban ruling Kabul in Afghanistan and the Pakistani administration are having a very difficult time, it is clear why Pakistan wanted to chair the Taliban Sanctions Committee. And make no mistake, this isn't about one terrorist. It is about a state policy spanning more than 7 decades. Pakistan's relationship with terrorism didn't begin in the 2000s. It began in 1947. That very year, right after independence, Pakistan used tribal militias to invade Jammu and Kashmir. It was the first chapter in a long saga of state-sponsored militancy cloaked as plausible deniability. 1965, Operation Gibraltar. Pakistani soldiers disguised as locals crossed into Indian territory. 1999, Kargil War. Again, troops masquerading as freedom fighters. This wasn't improvisation, it was doctrine. Over the decades, that doctrine evolved into something even more lethal. Enter the era of proxy jihad. Lashkar-e-Taiba, Jaish-e-Mohammed, Harkat al-Mujahideen, Hizbul Mujahideen. Groups born, trained, funded, and shielded by Pakistan's Inter-Services Intelligence, the ISI. And what did they do? 1993, Mumbai bomb blasts, 257 people killed. Mastermind, Dawood Ibrahim, still finds shelter in Karachi. 2001, Indian Parliament attack. 5 terrorists stormed the symbol of Indian democracy. 2008, Mumbai again. 166 civilians killed. Pakistan claimed it was a rogue op, even after Ajmal Kasab was captured alive. 2016, Pathankot Air Base attacked. 2019, Pulwama bombing. 40 Indian paramilitary jawans killed in broad daylight. In every case, the Pakistani playbook remains unchanged. Deny, distract, delay, disappear. And when cornered, Pakistan cries victim. They say they too suffer at the hands of terrorism. Yes, they do. But Hillary Clinton once said that if you breed snakes in your backyard, you're sure to be bitten. Let's talk accountability. Pakistan was put on the FATF grey list, not blacklisted, for terror financing. Did it change? Not fundamentally. It made cosmetic reforms, ticked some boxes, and walked away clean. Because the international system has a short memory and a long list of excuses. But there's another and a very important player in this geopolitical game, China. China has always known what Pakistan does. In fact, Chinese have been attacked in Pakistan by these very terrorists. But China has kept silent. Why? Because China does not want accountability. It wants access. The China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, or CPEC, is worth billions. Ports, highways, pipelines, all linking China to the Arabian Sea. And to secure this, China mediates between Pakistan and the Taliban in Afghanistan. It even helps Pakistan restore diplomatic ties with Afghanistan. This isn't diplomacy. This is geoeconomics masquerading as peace building. China doesn't want Pakistan to fight terrorism. It wants Pakistan to manage it, to ensure that CPEC routes are safe, not that the ideology is dismantled. It's a transactional world and Pakistan is playing its cards quite well. You need help with the Taliban? Well, we have contacts. You need access to Afghanistan? Let us handle it. And that's how we're getting into those critical positions by being transactional and giving deals to countries that want access to this part of the world. By offering its terror infrastructure as a lever of influence, Pakistan remains indispensable to global powers. And when indispensability trumps accountability, you get appointments like this. Pakistan leading UN Counter-Terror committees. Now let's not pretend this is a clerical error. It is a deliberate decision, backed by those nations who chose stability over justice, trade routes over truth. Look at Pahalgam, where 26 civilians were recently killed. The response? Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif called for a credible neutral probe, the same worn-out phrase we've heard after every attack. But here's what we never get: a credible acknowledgement, a neutral surrender of masterminds, a probe that leads to justice. Instead, Pakistan keeps shifting the burden of proof to everyone else. And what's the cost of this game? Thousands of lives, regions destabilized, and terrorism accepted as a tool of statecraft. All this while, Pakistan plays both victim and savior. International bodies have rewarded this duplicity. UN platforms, FATF soft gloves. It's all part of the same pattern. Pakistan is not being punished, it's being promoted, because no one wants to upset the status quo. Let's just call it what it is. Not the emperor with no clothes, but the emperor with a terrorist clone. Everyone sees it, but nobody has the courage to say it. Pakistan is not a partner in counter-terrorism. It is one of terrorism's primary architects. And by elevating it to leadership positions at the UN, we are not just ignoring the facts, we are legitimizing them. We are saying, yes, you can shelter terrorists, deny responsibility, and still get a seat at the table. So where do we go from here? Should we keep pretending, or should we confront the double game? Accountability doesn't start with hashtags or statements. It starts with action. Remove Pakistan from international counter-terror platforms. Impose sustained sanctions, not cosmetic timelines. Stop rewarding duplicity with diplomacy. Because the cost of inaction is not just lost credibility, it's more blood, more attacks, more chaos.